Thanks for watching Squirrel Fun. Comment below and let me know what you would like to see in future videos. Subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever I upload something new. Check out some of my other videos for short trivia lessons and quick bits of knowledge so that you can learn something new every day, even with your busy schedule. Peace, love, rock and roll. Enjoy! The great and famous patriot, Paul Revere. It's hard to get the straight story on Paul Revere, thanks in large part to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem about the allegedly lone midnight rider. While it is a beautiful and patriotic poem, it doesn't exactly follow true to historical facts. Let's sort through some of the misconceptions. 1. Revere was half French. This is true. His mother was a Bostonian, and his father was a French immigrant named Apollos Rivoire, anglicized to Paul Revere. 2. Revere was a brilliant silversmith. Well, not quite. He was certainly competent and a good metalworking businessman, but he was no Michelangelo of silver. When history started venerating Paul Revere, it was a package deal. All his activities were magnified, logic and proportion aside. Today, many of Revere's silver creations fetch a pretty price at auctions as collector's items. 3. Revere hung signal lanterns in a church tower. False. He had others hang them. Paul excelled at getting people to help his underground communications network. By the way, the actual signal was 2 dimly lit lanterns, which meant that the British Army would take the Charles River route. 4. Revere yelled, "The British are coming!" False. First of all, that would be like someone from Pittsburgh yelling, "The Americans are coming!" Like nearly all colonists, Revere considered himself British. Secondly, his warning specified that the regulars were on the march. In other words, the regular British Army. Furthermore, it's unlikely that Revere yelled anything because British Army patrols were everywhere. 5. Revere rode directly to Lexington and Concord. False. Revere was a key organizer of many riders in an informal early warning network, much like a primitive phone tree. He often carried news from point A to point B for the colonial cause. On April 18, 1775, Revere was the first in a chain of many riders who went forth to mobilize the militia and protect colonial munitions stores and leaders from surprise seizure. Fellow rider William Dawes soon joined him, and they later picked up Samuel Prescott. In Lexington, they warned Samuel Adams and John Hancock that the two were about to be arrested. But the men just thanked them and began arguing about what they should do next. Then the riders headed for Concord, but a regular who was stationed at a checkpoint captured Revere. In the subsequent commotion, Dawes and Prescott escaped. Dawes fell off his horse and decided to call it a night, and Prescott was able to warn Concord. Okay, but how many people have heard of the midnight ride of Sam Prescott? 6. Revere fought at Lexington. False. You can't fight when you're helping another guy haul a chest of documents around town. Revere was close to the fighting, though, with muskets being fired all around him. Plus, he was doing more preserving a trunk of secret documents than he might have done with a musket, especially since the colonial militia broke and ran for it. Number 7. Revere was convicted of cowardice in the 1779 Penobscot expedition. Definitely false. Commanding the expedition's artillery, Revere stood accused of disobeying orders. Rightfully offended, after the war, he demanded a court-martial, and it exonerated him. Although his military career was kind of underwhelming, the evidence of Revere's life hurls any hint of cowardice out the window. Number 8. Revere has always been considered a national hero. This is false. He was always a regional hero in Massachusetts, but it was Longfellow's poem, 100 years later, that got him into history texts and the memories of school children everywhere. The poem overstates Revere's role at the expense of many others, but its mid-Civil War timing was impeccable in capturing public emotion. As often happens, history's heroes can be either forgotten or exaggerated, but they are rarely remembered as they truly were. Click on the info icon up in the top right corner to find my poetry recital video of the entirety of Longfellow's poem, The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, complete with written lyrics. You can also find a link in the description below this video.